7 traits people develop after being raised by narcissistic parent. Growing up with narcissistic or self-absorbed parents can leave lasting imprints on your personality, relationships, and self-perception. Many people don't realize how deeply their upbringing affects them until they start noticing certain behavioral patterns in adulthood. When a parent is overly focused on themselves, whether through control, emotional neglect, or constant criticism, it creates an environment where a child's emotional needs take a backseat. The result? Unresolved issues that manifest in subtle but significant ways later in life. The good news? Recognizing these traits is the first step toward breaking free from these unhealthy patterns and fostering personal growth. In this video, we'll uncover 7 common traits that people often develop after being raised by self-absorbed or narcissistic parents. So let's get started. 1. Hypersensitivity to criticism. When you grow up constantly scrutinized, criticized, or compared to unrealistic standards, it's natural to develop a heightened sensitivity to criticism, even constructive feedback. Your brain may have learned to associate criticism with rejection or failure, making even small remarks feel like personal attacks. You may find yourself replaying negative comments over and over, feeling deeply hurt by perceived disapproval, or avoiding feedback altogether out of fear. But here's something to remember. Not all criticism is harmful. Some feedback is meant to help you grow. The key is learning to separate toxic criticism. Developing a healthier relationship with feedback takes time, but it starts with recognizing your inherent value beyond anyone's opinion. 2. People-pleasing tendencies. Were you always the one keeping the peace in your family? Were you expected to cater to your parents' emotions while neglecting your own? Children of self-absorbed parents often develop a pattern of prioritizing others over themselves. They become the friend who listens but never shares, the employee who takes on extra work without hesitation, or the partner who sacrifices their happiness for the sake of the relationship. While being considerate of others is admirable, constantly putting yourself last leads to burnout, resentment, and a loss of identity. The key to breaking free from this pattern is understanding that your needs matter just as much as anyone else's. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary for a balanced life. 3. Struggling to trust your own feelings. When a parent regularly dismissed or twisted your emotions, you may have learned to question your own reality. If you were told you were too sensitive or overreacting, it likely made you doubt your own experiences. You may find yourself wondering, was that really unfair, or am I just imagining it? Over time, this can lead to emotional detachment or constant self-questioning. As an adult, this manifests in indecisiveness, apologizing excessively, and feeling disconnected from your emotions. The truth is, your feelings are valid. Learning to trust your inner voice again takes time, but the first step is acknowledging that your emotions are real and deserve to be honored. 4. Feeling responsible for other people's emotions. If your parent made you feel responsible for their moods, whether through guilt, blame, or emotional outbursts, you might carry that same burden into adulthood. This could mean constantly monitoring the emotions of those around you, trying to fix situations, or feeling anxious when someone is upset, even if it has nothing to do with you. You might feel an overwhelming sense of guilt if you can't make others happy, leading to an endless cycle of emotional caretaking. But here's the hard truth. You are not responsible for managing anyone else's emotions. Everyone is accountable for their own feelings and reactions. Learning to step back and allow others to process their own emotions without taking them on yourself is a crucial step toward emotional freedom. 5. Struggling to feel good enough. When a parent's love and approval are conditional, it creates a deep-rooted belief that no matter what you do, you'll never be enough. You may achieve great things, receive praise, or reach milestones, yet still feel unfulfilled. Compliments might feel undeserved, and any form of failure, even minor, feels like proof that you're not good enough. This relentless need to prove yourself can lead to perfectionism, anxiety, or an inability to truly enjoy success. But here's the truth. Your worth is not defined by external achievements. You don't have to keep running, striving, or proving yourself. You were always enough, just as you are. Recognizing this truth is the first step toward embracing self-acceptance and inner peace. 6. Chronic self-doubt. One of the most common effects of growing up with a narcissistic parent is struggling with self-doubt. If you were constantly criticized, dismissed, or made to feel like you were never enough, you likely internalized those messages. As a child, You may have learned that love and approval were conditional. Your worth depended on meeting expectations, expectations that often shifted unpredictably. This creates a pattern of second-guessing yourself, constantly seeking validation, and fearing that you'll never quite measure up. Even as an adult, this lingering self-doubt can make decision-making difficult. You may hesitate to trust your instincts, worry about upsetting others, or feel like you always need to prove yourself. But here's the truth. Your worth is not tied to anyone's approval. The first step to overcoming self-doubt is understanding that your voice and choices matter. 7. Difficulty setting boundaries. Boundaries are essential for healthy relationships, but for those raised by self-absorbed parents, setting them can feel nearly impossible. Growing up, you might have been conditioned to put your parents' needs first. Whether it was keeping the peace, fixing their problems, or ensuring their happiness, your own well-being likely took a backseat. Saying no was not an option. You were expected to comply no matter what. As a result, you may now struggle to assert yourself. You might find it hard to turn down requests, even when they overwhelm you, or tolerate mistreatment out of fear of upsetting others. But here's the reality. Boundaries are not selfish. They are a necessary form of self-respect. Learning to say no when needed is one of the most empowering steps toward healing. So let's talk about our final thoughts and breaking free from the cycle. The way we were raised shapes us, but it doesn't have to define us forever. Research in psychology confirms that childhood environments significantly influence adult behavior. When you grow up adapting to the emotions and expectations of a self-absorbed parent, those patterns don't just disappear, they become deeply ingrained coping mechanisms. But here's the most powerful realization. Patterns can be unlearned. The brain is incredibly adaptable, and self-awareness is the first step toward change. Recognizing these traits isn't about blaming the past, it's about understanding how it shaped you so you can consciously decide how you want to move forward. Healing takes time, patience, and intentional effort. But by becoming aware of these patterns, setting boundaries, and prioritizing your well-being, you can create a future that isn't controlled by the past. What about you? Have you noticed any of these traits in yourself? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more content on emotional healing and personal growth. Thank you for watching, and remember, your past does not define you. Your future is in your hands.